What's up, everybody? My name is Jonah Gorch, and this is Skorch the Fears. We've got special guest today, Keston. It is a name I've heard in Sub 2 so much, and people might be surprised that I don't think we've ever actually talked to each other before. But so, like, I don't even know. Did you message me on Instagram, or did I message you on Instagram or something? I don't really remember, but I just remember being like, hey, we should talk.
Yeah, absolutely, bro. And thanks for having me on. But yeah, we've never met. I've seen you doing like some cool things, and one day I just reached out and was like, bro, we've never met, and you
Why the
do
hell don't we know each other?
exactly, and that's what that introduction was like. But it's glad to finally meet you, my man.
100%. I'm so excited to have you on here. So tell me real quick, what is, for the people that don't know you, what's your business? What's your just what's your business? What are you doing right now?
So my business, and it depends on which side you're asking, right? Because my primary business right now is being a high performance coach. It wasn't
Hmm.
that a few months ago. And so started as a real estate investor 3 years ago. And, just like most people having leaving that 9 to 5, I had a really good 6-figure cybersecurity job. I used to work on Wall Street. Things was nice, right? But having that feeling inside of something like knowing that there's more to life because you're going to work every single Monday and getting ready to have the same week you've had last week and doing that over and over, like it just got to the point where, man, I just needed something different. I needed fulfillment. And when COVID happened, was my escape because I that's when I took a leap. My job, they were giving out severance packages, and the thing
What
about
was your
it,
job?
a cybersecurity engineer.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so really great job. They were willing to allow me to go wherever I wanted and work remotely, but that's still the golden handcuffs,
Hmm.
and wanting to leave for years and years and years before, the thing that kept me at my 9 to 5 job a lot longer than it should have was the thoughts of insurance, the thoughts of having a wife and kids, and belief, really like thinking, could you really make it out there on your own, like without this security of this monthly paycheck? And that thought had me crippled for years. And in 2020, that's when my wife and I we started taking our first real estate course. And in January, that was January of 2020. And once I hired a high performance coach, then it like my coach helped me with clarity. She helped me like with courage and a lot of these different things, man, that made me take that package. She didn't tell me to do it, but I felt like I knew exactly how I was going to achieve. And so July 1st, 2020 was my last day at work. And
Nice.
and from July to December, we closed 1.5 times my 6-figure salary in
Wow, that's
wholesaling.
crazy, bro. So I was gonna first ask you, like, how did that feel quitting your job? And then secondly, yeah, like that's crazy. I mean, how did that feel quitting your job, and how were you able to get so much success so quickly?
Dude, it was terrifying. It was really terrifying, man, because just not knowing what tomorrow brings, that was a
Hmm.
paradigm that I was facing. And anyone, I didn't have entrepreneurs in my family. Does my parents own businesses? Sure. Is it kind of what I seen for myself? No. And so I didn't have like a model to follow. And so every single thing was new to my wife and I. So there was fear, there was a level of anxiety, but there was a lot of confidence. And the confidence was in putting myself around other real estate investors And I'm a Christian, and I believe in God and all that type of stuff. So my belief in knowing that this was gonna work out was super strong, man. And so that kind of counteracted that daily. And I mean, dude, I still wake up every day with like, all right, God, what am I gonna do today, right? But it's not really what am I gonna do today. It's really like, you know better than me. I'm just gonna show up and do my own planning. But I'm sure you've heard a saying like, man plans and God laughs, kind of thing.
Right. Yep.
and and that's kind of how I approach it. But I still plan. I still have a plan. I still know kind of like from the night before what I'm getting up to start doing and all of that. But I really think going through my high performance coaching, that person that I had at first, my coach, that really prepared me to with the confidence, because prior to that I didn't know how to structure my day.
I love it.
Prior to that, I didn't know how to minimize my distractions. I didn't know how to balance time for the business and my wife. That was a big thing. There was just so much that I didn't know that helped me. And so I felt like I had a blueprint. And
So wait, let's talk about that real quick. I want to know what your coach did for you. I have a coach too, and I think everyone, once they have the financial means to, should 100% get a coach. And I
yeah,
want you to really quick talk about like the pros of coaching, when you should get a coach. Really dive deep into that for a second.
yeah, man. I mean, how could you afford not to have a coach is really what I ask.
There you
Because
go.
dude, like when I hired her, I couldn't afford it. But I ma- I maxed out on credit cards, dude. I had over $100,000 in debt, like simply because
Mhm.
I invested in me first, and I was taking a chance. And so when it comes to a coach, my coach helped me, like I said, with clarity. That's the first thing. When you know where to go, and it's like a GPS, right? Understanding the address and putting an address in your GPS, and you know where to go, that solves 85% of the problem. Because most people, some of the things why they lack motivation, why they don't perform, why they procrastinate, all of that sums up into a lack of clarity. Anytime I feel like I'm procrastinating or like I'm not doing something, I tend to ask myself, what are you not clear about? What are you not clear about? It means that I'm not clear about something. So clarity is one of the main things that my coach helped me as to this is where I'm going. Another thing is productivity. Being able and knowing how to schedule your day and show up for your day is an absolutely important thing. And I didn't know how to schedule my day. Matter of fact, I used to say my brain is a computer. I'm not writing nothing down, right? That was kind of my claim to fame when I was stupid. But although I used to hustle, but having that planner and just really auditing your day. Have you ever audited your day, bro? Like write down from A to Z. I have my audit is from 4 a.m. to 10 p.m.
Hmm.
And I know what I'm doing. Every single block, every hour block in my day is mapped out, even if it means I'm chilling.
That's interesting. That's so is every single part of your day, even the chilling parts? That's like an interesting concept. Mine's pretty good. I map out my day, but like things pop up, craziness happens in the business, all of a sudden something explodes and then you need to make something happen. Like talk about like, is it literally every part of your day, and what happens when something explodes?
So yeah, every part of the day is mapped out. And so I have what's called a model week. And if everything goes perfect, this is what my week looks like. And then I break it down into days. And so I look at my model week and see what I'm supposed to do. The reason why that is important for me is because if I know I have a goal, and my goal is to, let's go to real estate. If my goal is to buy 20 properties this year, I could then reverse engineer what I need to be doing every month, every week, every day, right? Like everything compounds upon each other. And so when I model that out and I know what I'm supposed to be doing, if I don't do those things, then I'm not getting towards my goal. And
Right.
so something is going to suffer. And so when something blows up, I audit, is this taking me to my goal or from my goal? If it's taking me away from my goal, is it urgent or important? That's the magic question. Is this urgent or important? And depending on which it is, important meaning like it matters, but it could actually wait till later. Is it urgent means like I
Mm,
got to deal with it now. And so today, even today, I got some texts that would seemingly be super important, like, hey, this vendor needs to get paid, blah, blah, blah. But when I audited based on what I was doing, now it wasn't a plan in my day to make to take care of this. Somebody else was supposed to take care of this. But now I look at it, I'm like, this could wait until I'm done doing what I'm doing and I could do this in my break. Although
right.
for this person, it's like alarms going off and all of that. And I'm just like, that's all emotion. It's not moving my goal forward. So I responded to it when I had time, not in the midst of everything. It's not going to pull me away from my goal. And so that's how I kind of go through things coming up. Now, is that important? Absolutely. That vendor needs to get paid because there's a flip that we're doing and he needs to get paid and all that. That is super important. But is it urgent? No, that could wait. So
Interesting.
that's how I level things out, bro.
I love it. I love it so much. Man, we're already 13 minutes in and I haven't asked my classic first question just because I was like, whoa, wait, coaching? Let's talk about it for a second. We'll get into it because I know you're now a coach and we'll definitely get more into it. But I want to start with my classic first question, which is basically this. Keston, if when you were starting in real estate or entrepreneurship, what fears were you dealing with? Like, what were you afraid of? What was like your biggest ones? And like, how'd you overcome them? It sounds like the W-2, which is a classic one, but like, were there any others?
The biggest fear, I knew that I wasn't going back. I like
Mm,
I had friends that would call me and be like, "Hey bro, I know some cybersecurity people in Atlanta, you moved out there in the middle of COVID." And I'm like, "No, no, leave me alone. I'm not going back." The fear really was, damn bro, I feel like I'm trying to make up a lie, but I can't say that I wasn't afraid. I was nervous. I didn't have a specific fear. It was just the fear of the unknown. Like
mm,
what what actually is supposed to happen,
right,
Like because I'm trusting a process, but I don't really know if this process works. I'm going based off of what a coach or a mentor told me to do. And it's
right.
like, so it felt blind. And so I just had this faith and hope that if I continue to do what this coach told me to do, that something will happen. A deal will fall into like place. And so I did that. And I should say that when I paid for that first mentorship, it was a ballroom. It was one of those 3-day things. And then, but in those 3-day sessions, I was the last person every single day asking the mentor, is this real? Is this real? If I join this thing, would you help me? Would you make sure? And every day, bro, I was the last person drilling these questions, and he reassured me, and he is still there for me for any types of questions that I have.
Oh,
Anything.
that's really cool.
Yeah. So
That's
even
awesome.
even throughout COVID, like he has been there, bro. And so I just had faith in him because he committed to me. And so I'm like, I'm gonna do exactly what you tell me and nothing else. I'm just gonna do exactly what you tell me.
Isn't it crazy? I mean, I feel like this is something that like so many people forget. Like my story is I joined Astro and then I joined Sub2 really closely afterwards. But
Hmm.
I feel like almost all of my success has to do with just listening, getting someone who knows more than me and following their steps, step by step by step by step, and not doing anything else, just going step by step and doing their process. And that's it. Right. And like so many people just don't do it. I don't know why. I feel like people get the blueprint, they pay money for Astro or Sub2 or the mentorship you were talking about, and then they just don't do it. They just do like kind of it. It's like, why did you spend all that money? What was even the point if you were just gonna kind of do your own thing anyways, right? It's
Well,
like what in the world?
well, I the reason for that is, and now I'm getting into mindset stuff, right? The reason for that is because of paradigms, bro.
Mm,
Paradigms, simply defined, is a multitude of habits passed down from one generation to the next, right? And you have your conscious mind and your subconscious mind. Your paradigms live in your subconscious mind. And so when we were kids, we didn't have our intellectual mind, which is your conscious mind. And so that means we couldn't think, choose, or make decisions for ourselves when we were kids. So that's the reason why, if we grew up in Texas, we grew up with that culture, liking that type of food. If we grew up in Afghanistan, that's how we would grow up too, liking their culture, their food, doing things that they do. And so we'd be programmed. And so your paradigm is that programming. And so now that we're adults and we're like, oh, let me join this mentorship, I want to change my life, and we're starting to do things different than what we're programmed to do, then there's conflict. When there's conflict, you start going back to what you're used to. And so that's the reason why many people, they start something but they haven't built that new habit, and their discipline is not locked in enough to replace their paradigm. And so then they go back to living the life that they lived before. And that's the reason why mentorships has these only 15% of people actually do the work and pass, and which is crazy, you know.
right.
And it's all summed down to paradigms, these habits that they're not able to conquer, their beliefs about money, all that stuff is stored up in that paradigm, bro.
So how do you change your paradigm? That's the $1 million, literally the million
Yeah.
dollar question.
How do you change your paradigm? So first of all, you gotta be able to identify them. If you can't identify and know that this is a problem, then there's nothing to change. So the first thing is awareness. You gotta know that, listen, I could see that I procrastinate, or let's just use let's use someone who's an alcoholic and wants to make different choices. They're in real estate, but drinking keeps putting them off or making them not take action. They're not making their follow-up calls. And so they know what they need to do, but they just stop doing it. Or they may think that they don't have a drinking problem. So awareness is the first thing. Oh crap, I'm aware that I have this problem. And now you got to decide. Number two, you got to decide that I want to change this, because the thing about changing a paradigm, just like any addiction, there's going to be pushback. You're going to be in battles with yourself to
Right.
change this habit, to change this addiction. And so once you have that commitment and this person saying, I am going to do this, and only until they do that could you then begin the process. The third thing you need is discipline. What are you like? Are you going to keep yourself accountable? Now, this is the reason why doing it in a community or having a coach to help you is so important, because here is where people get weak. Keeping yourself disciplined and accountable to change something that's been like a lifelong trait is very hard. It's very, very hard. I don't care how self-motivating you are. There's going to be some things that you're just going to be like, screw it. It's like going to the gym. and you know, like, man, I'm good, right? Like you doing bench press and you do 10 and you're like, oh man, this hurts. But if you had a coach or if you're working out with friends, you could do like 15, you could do like 20, simply because somebody is pushing you to get you there. And so you're always going to give yourself less doing it by yourself. And so having that coach telling you and you knowing exactly what to do and you having the discipline to actually do it, that's how you start overriding your paradigms. And you'd have to replace it with a habit. You can't just stop doing it. You should replace it. And so if you're replacing drinking, so for me, I used to be addicted to sex and pornography and all that type of stuff, right? And I replaced those habits with business and just learning and all that type of stuff. That's how I replace some of those habits. So without replacing the habits, you're done. You're going right back. And that's how you start replacing your paradigms.
Love it. That's a good answer. So then what I have a coach and it has literally changed my entire business. I 100% agree that like for me it's the accountability of
Mhm.
like being like, "Hey, you said this was the goal for this week. What happened? Why didn't you stick to this goal? Like what's going on?" Cuz like this is what's going to push you forward. Me being like, "God damn it." Like now it's not cuz when you're an entrepreneur, like you're the boss. Nobody can actually tell you
Yeah.
what to do, right? Like in the
Yeah.
end, because you're your own boss. So like that you need somebody though who's gonna like stick on you and is actually gonna be like, hey, no, do this. You need
Yeah.
to actually do the things so that you achieve the goals, or are you just spouting out nonsense? Do you actually have the drive to achieve greatness, or are you just screwing around? And when someone says that to me, then I get like fired up a little bit. I'm like,
Yeah.
no, of course I have it. I'm getting it done. So I love it. Let me go back to your journey just for a second, real quick.
Mhm.
So, real estate. You do 1.5 times what you made at your salary, which is amazing. Then what? What's your story? What's your journey?
So in December of 2020, we're crushing it and wholesaling, but I'm like, dude, I gotta continue to do this every single like deal. So I didn't really celebrate because I'm like, I gotta continue working. There's no time to chill because it's wholesaling. Bec- we're hustling ourselves, right? This is before we have systems and all this type of stuff in place. So I'm thinking the only thing that could actually replace getting paid like I was getting paid by my 9 to 5 job every month is cash flow. So I need cash flow. And that made me want to buy and hold properties. And although I was pitching creative financing because I took creative financing in the first mentorship, and so I knew things from a structural standpoint, but it was way too many details that I was giving the seller, way too much. And so a confused mind always says no. And then I some way somehow the algorithms put me to pace, and I'm like, it sounds like this dude knows what he's talking about, right? Like listening to some of his sales calls and all that type of stuff. I'm like trying to convince my wife and the team that we should join, but we done my first mentorship was like 30 grand, bro. So, and then I joined
Mm-hmm.
something else after that. And now I'm trying to get them to spend this other amount of money to get into sub two. And they weren't having it. It wasn't until I put my foot down after like maybe like 3 months of listening to Pace and seeing that or believing that he was the missing piece for me to close a creative deal or to close like buy
Right.
and hold properties. They committed to it. So in December 2020, we joined sub two. And in 2021, bro, we went from 1 to 21 doors, man. All creative, using other
Wow.
people
Nice.
money, just going all the way in. And then in 2022, that's when I bought my first multifamily property. And we just kept going, bro. And that's kind of where we are today. And that's why the transition happened. So let me tell you about the transition, because in sub two, there's this thing called the daily dial. The daily
Mhm.
dial, I started teaching people sales on the daily dial. And so on Tuesday, I would teach people sale. My day was like helping them with painting the picture back to the seller. And I used to break down Pace's seller calls, and like it was a lot of value. People were really enjoying doing those things. But even as I was buying deals, I felt like other people, like they just weren't, they weren't applying, and I didn't understand why. Well, I actually understood why. They didn't understand why. And I felt like, like when you're watching TV and there's someone around the corner, and because you could see, you're like, dude, don't go there. Like somebody's there, you idiot. I felt
Right.
like that was me, where I could see people and say, dude, like, why are you not motivated? Like, you make a left, don't go there, and that's what made me start changing from teaching people sales to teaching them like how to stay motivated and how to prevent imposter syndrome and all these types of things. And then I started calling my day Transformation Tuesdays in on
Hmm.
the daily dial. And I've been doing Transformation Tuesdays for a little over a year now. From like, I've been on the daily dial for over 2 years, but Transformation Tuesdays has been like over a year now, where I'm just helping people stay motivated and helping them level up in their real estate game and their journey.
I love it. So what is it? Like, what do you do in Transformation Tuesday?
So we go through different topics. So I come in and we come in hot, right? Like I play a song and get everybody all hyped up and all that type of stuff. I used to be a DJ, so I just bring back elements from the things I used to do. That's another
An engineer
podcast.
and a DJ?
Yeah.
Like that's a pretty interesting life. I kind of want to hear about it later, but let's keep going for now.
Yeah, dude. And so the Transformation Tuesday. So get them hyped up, speak about something motivational, and then there are times where I break down a book. So I remember us going through The Secret, and there I have a gift, let's call it, where sharing a perspective in something that somebody has read a million times, I have been able to come and share a perspective that many haven't talked about or thought of. And so like we went through The Secret, we've gone through like Undercover Billionaire and breaking down, that's with Grant Cardone, and breaking down like some of the things that he said, why he said it. And so I like breaking things down. That's the reason why I broke down even Pace's seller calls, because a lot of people would hear it and they'll be like, oh my God, you're so good. And instead of learning what he's actually doing, like, yeah, he's amazing, but what technique did he use? Why did he say that?
Right.
What's going on right now? And so I would break it down like every line, maybe every 2 seconds, I'll stop it and talk about why he said, what technique, how he's getting into seller head, that type of stuff. And so that's kind of what I started Transformational Tuesdays as and do. And right now we're reading a book right now called The Power of Awareness. And so we've been in this book for like probably the last month or month and change. And
Mhm.
in going through the book, having people raise their hands, ask questions, tell me what they think. And after I get a bunch of people telling me their thoughts, then I give them my perspective on it. And that's like we get incredible value from doing that, because now you start to understand yourself better. Now you're able to see things in a way and understand visualization and all these different topics that seem like woo woo stuff. Now people are like, oh crap, like never thought of it that way. So that's what I do on Transformational Tuesday.
So what's like the most important thing to do? Is it meditation? Is it visualization? Is it affirmations? Is it all of them? Is it Like which ones do you feel like are the most useful and of like mindset tools that people should be doing every single day? And I'm doing this selfishly at this point. Is like I'm gonna like have you audit me and my mindset stuff more or
Yeah.
less, right? Because like here's what I do. I listen to a meditation video in the morning, 15 minutes, then daily affirmations, and I have my vision board to my left. I don't know if I actually do enough visualization. So
Mm.
I kind of want you to go through like what would be like an ideal maybe morning routine. Because guys, you're also a coach, right? I'm not wrong about that. You
I
said
am.
that?
I am a certified high performance coach as well.
Right. So I want you to use me as a guinea pig of a little bit of coaching so that the people can see. But
Yeah.
like, anyways, what do you think are the best techniques?
So I don't have people do this blanketly. I believe that in doing each one of those things, affirmation, visualization, there needs to be a reason why. And so when people ask me for my morning routine, I could tell you, but if it may not have the same effect on you because I'm like, I built my morning routine for me based on what works for me. Right. So, but I do similar things that you do. So in the morning, the first thing I do when I wake up is I have my devotional time. Devotional time could be compared to someone's meditation time. It's exactly like it, right? I do some like praise stuff where getting in the law of vibration, which is the primary law. People talk about the law of attraction. The law of vibration is primary to the law of attraction. The reason why is because, like, think about when like, if you're upset, right? You're upset and mad. And when someone is like, I'm just going to gym, and they go in the gym and they work out, then they start feeling better. What happened is they used the law of vibration, they moved their body, they did things, and now that sent a different message to their subconscious mind, and now they're feeling better. That's how the law of vibration works. And once you start doing that, and for me in the morning when I wake up and I do some meditation and just like movement, praise movement type of stuff, that puts my whatever is going on in my subconscious mind, it changes it into a good mood. Now your subconscious,
Mm,
and I know I'm talking like terminologies, and so I'm just gonna continue to put like break down what some of these things are. Your subconscious mind is your emotional mind. That's where your emotions live. Your emotions control your body, controls how you the things that you do, right? If you're happy emotionally, then you're happy. You move around and you're like, oh man, I'm having an amazing day. But if it is that you're unhappy or you're depressed, then you're down, you're not moving much, you're not talking much. It controls your actions. Your thoughts controls your emotions, your emotion controls your actions. To change that, force yourself in a law of vibration. So even if you're having thoughts that suck and you're pissed off, if you move and you do things, you could change how you feel. Does that make sense?
yes, 100%. Yeah, yeah. I mean, like I've had this with Tony Robbins, where I remember he talks about how your physiology, your body movement is you. Like in
Yes.
the end, like your body is you. So like if you're moving around, getting active, we as human beings evolved to be active. So if we're just sitting in a chair all day, you just feel worse. Like you weren't meant
Correct.
for that. And then like your emotional state is bad, and then like your work is worse because even no matter what you do, if you're feeling annoyed, even if like you're saying all the right things and you're like doing all the right things, always in the end, it just comes through somehow. There's no way it doesn't at least a little bit. And that just
Yep.
turns it a little bit off. And then you lose that lead, use that deal, and you just lost $20,000 because you didn't go work out or do the
Exactly.
vibrational thing you were talking about. Right. So, my guys, I'm going to leave it at that because I'm already going 15 minutes over for him and I don't want to take up too much of his time. Sign up. It's a 14-day free trial. I don't know what you're doing like it's free. So, you're an idiot if you don't sign up, right? Keston, follow him. I'll put this up again at Keston Purpose again. And here's the link. And again, thank you so much for coming on, my man. I appreciate you. Do you have any last words? Anything last you want to say before I do my little outro?
Yeah, man. So to your community, guys, remember understanding where you are in your current position is super important. Gaining clarity on where you are and then where you're going. Those two things, if it's anything that you take, understand what's going on, become aware of your paradigms, become aware of your habits, and then where you're going, your destination. Those two key things could change your life if you take it seriously, if you really double down on understanding those things and gain clarity in those two areas. So peace and love. I appreciate you guys being here. Go out and crush your paradigms.
I love it. All right, guys. Skorch the Fears. We got next week. I'm forgetting who I got. We've got somebody cool, I promise. I'm gonna like do it for next time. Skorch the Fears, 6 p.m. MST. Keston, thank you so much again. And guys, let's freaking go.